If you want to learn a language quickly, you might be tempted to think you're supposed to study all kinds of grammar rules and memorize lots of vocabulary lists. But that method never actually works. There's a better way that's faster and more fun. And in this video, I'm going to give you 4 practical action steps that you can take if you want to learn a language naturally. And this process is as simple as read, engage, listen, find. Hey guys, I'm Aaron from Finctum Languages, and this video series is called Finally Learn That Language. My goal here is to help you enhance your life by finally mastering that language that's been on your mind all of these years. So how can you learn a language better by studying less? Isn't that an essential part of the learning process? No, it's not. Or at least, it depends what you mean by study, because there's definitely a right and a wrong way to go about doing it. The word study usually brings to mind the idea of slaving away over a textbook or notes from class, memorizing charts and tables, torturing yourself with abstract grammar rules that never seem to make any sense. You might even feel like you can't start speaking the language until after all of this memorization has already been completed. Wrong! You should start speaking your target language well before you ever finish the first chapter of your textbook, which is actually easier than you think, especially with today's technology. The good news is that the best method for learning a language is way easier and more fun than the boring old methods they made you use in school. You just need to learn the right hacks that allow you to jump right into the fun stuff with minimal studying involved. Like Benny Lewis says, it's actually possible to put in 20% of the work and get 80% of the results. And while we don't want to stop at 80%, this is a great milestone that will make the rest of your language learning journey way more attainable and fun. So here are 4 practical steps you can take right now that will allow you to start using the language even with almost no formal study. Number 1. Read short stories designed for beginners, and then progress upwards towards interesting articles and simple books as you improve. And I can already hear some of you panicking. But wait! I need to study before I can read a book! But actually, that's not true. There are apps that can allow you to start reading short stories in your target language right away, with little or no previous study under your belt. Immersing yourself in the language with stories on Link or on Duolingo will help you naturally internalize the grammar of the language without ever having to study confusing abstract rules. Now, when you first start learning a language, you might have to read each story multiple times, spaced out over a period of a few days or even weeks. That way you get some good repetitions of the vocabulary and the grammatical structures you're learning from the story without ever feeling like you're doing drills. In some ways, this is similar to how children learn languages, and the process is very natural, not forced like the studying you did in school. Now, if you still consider this to be studying, fine. But my point is, this method is enjoyable. And it's realistic to believe that you can actually start a routine of reading a story every day, while it would take a lot of determination to read a chapter in a textbook every day. Step number 2. The next thing you should be doing is engaging in a text conversation right away. You might feel like you're not ready to start speaking to real people. But that feeling is a lie from the devil, because there are ways of making that goal very realistic and easy. Even if you're still on day 1 of learning your target language, it's not too early to start a text conversation. And this is a really important step, because studying by yourself will not prepare you for all of the internal anxiety that comes along when you have an interaction with an actual human being. You have to talk to real people in real conversations if you want to develop the skill of being able to communicate in another language. There's no way around it. And if that scares you, don't worry. It's easy to start in a text conversation because you have time to look things up. Even if you use Google Translate for 75% of your messages at first, that's okay to begin with. You're still setting your ship in motion and lighting that spark under your fire. A free app that's excellent for this process is HelloTalk, because they help connect you with people who speak your target language and want to learn your native language. And the app has a number of features that help you when you're first starting with text conversations, like a built-in translator and a correction tool. Once you've developed your confidence in text conversations, you graduate up to sending voice messages and then to video chats, and you begin to rely less and less on dictionaries, grammars, references, and online translators. This is a process that I use from very early on in my own personal language learning journeys, and I promise it actually works if you give it an honest try. And the third step you should take is listening to music. Listening to music starts off enjoyable right away, whether or not you understand any of the words. But the more you listen to it, the more you'll naturally start to remember the sounds of the words in the song. And with just a little bit of online help, it won't be long until you understand what the song is talking about. Lyricstraining.com is a great website and app for finding new songs if you're learning any of these languages, and they can help you get started learning the words of the songs too. But if your target language isn't on here, then you can always find music on YouTube. At first, I recommend finding 2 or 3 songs that sound good to you even without understanding any of the words, and then listen to them a lot. Once you're familiar with the sound and the feel of these songs, look up the lyrics online. Try reading through and seeing how many of the words you already recognize. How much of the song do you understand? If it's not too much, that's fine. Just keep listening every day. Find 1 or 2 words per verse that look like they might be important to the meaning of the song, and look them up on wordreference.com or whatever dictionary you prefer. That won't get you to the point of understanding the entire song right away, but it will start to give you an idea of what the song is about. And you'll start to notice these few words stand out every time you listen to the song, even though it all sounded like gibberish before. Then send a few lines of the song to the friends you've made on HelloTalk. Since they're native speakers, they'll help you be able to understand and interpret the lyrics, and then the song will begin to make more and more sense. This also serves as a great conversation topic if you don't know what to talk about on HelloTalk. And the last step you should take to stop studying and start speaking is to find a language parent. Now, a language parent is not a teacher. It's not someone who dictates your learning process or tells you what you should be studying. A language parent is just someone who helps you along your language learning journey in the same way that a biological parent helps their children learn their native language. Now, when I was learning my native language, my parents didn't give me an English book. They didn't make me do drills or exercises. They played with me. They spoke clearly, using vocabulary that they knew I was already familiar with, and they were patient when I didn't understand. We played dumb games like Where's Your Nose or What Does a Cow Say? They read short stories to me with pictures so I could understand what was happening, even without understanding all the words. This is the kind of person you want to help you learn their language. If you already know someone who's willing to be this patient with you, like a spouse or a friend, great. Otherwise, it's not hard to find someone like this on HelloTalk for free or on italki for a small cost. The important thing to remember is that your language parent is not teaching you the language. They're just using the language with you in a simple, stress-free way and exhibiting lots of patience. Now, there's one really important catch to this step, and it's that if you're too timid when you're practicing with people, you'll actually learn less than if you just practiced by yourself. Be sure to watch this video if you want to avoid falling into that trap and learn how to practice languages with confidence. I'm going to outline why this is so important and give you some easy steps to take if you want to get better in this area. But for now, go into the world and learn that language.